Hi, I'm Richard Rogers, and I absolutely hope that you enjoy today's spiritual message. You know, we at Unity of Phoenix Spiritual Center are committed to helping people live better lives. We're going to provide you tools over and over, spiritual tools that allow you to live your best possible life. And if you want to leave a donation to continue to allow the work that we do to support other people just like you, we say thank you. Thank you for your generosity, because this ministry is committed to making the world a better place. You guys ready? Okay, so we've been playing Game On, right? And we've broken it up into 4 quadrants, right? Now, is there really such a thing as 4 quadrants of you? Not really, right? But it kind of helps our mind just get an understanding of these 4 aspects. But it's not really, you can't really say, well, this is my soul, and this is my emotions, and this is my mind. Or, you know, we want to point to our brain and say, well, this is my mind. But it's not, your mind is actually more than your brain, true? So we focused on 4 areas. The first one was the physical. And we asked that you spend 20 minutes a day on physical fitness. Now, that's a pretty easy concept. Do you all understand, and I talked about this on Sunday, do you all understand about the concept of physical fitness? Right? Everybody took a gym class. Everybody took PE. At some level, they wanted you to run a mile to see if you could run it in under 6 minutes, or you had to do, anybody ever have to do push-ups or sit-ups or burpees or any of those things, right? With the idea that if we spend 20 minutes a day, does our body feel better or worse? Better. Is your body built for movement? You know, I have a friend, Dr. Christiane Northrup, who says that sitting is the new smoking. Like, and you know, even if you have an Apple Watch, if you sit for more than an hour with your Apple Watch starts screaming at you. It's like, stand up. Then it says, fatso, stand up. And then it says, really fatso, stand up. No, it doesn't say that at all. But it's the idea that 20 minutes, the more we move our body, the better it is for our bodies. True? Great. Then we focused on mental. And we only gave you 10 minutes for that. Now, could you do all your mental work in 10 minutes? If you have a very small mental project, right? At some level, we have to do our mental work all the time. But the mental fitness is really about that you're in charge, that you've mastered your own mind, that you're in charge of your thoughts, that you actually have the ability to move from negative thinking to positive thinking at will. Now, that's really one of the things I want you to look at in this process is, are you in charge of your own thoughts? Like through this process, through this month, when you're mentally spiraling, can you shift that? Right? So when we're in our negative thinking, do you have the dominion and mastery over your own mental process to shift it into positive thoughts? Or once you start the slide, are we going all the way? Right? All the way, all the way, all the way. So 10 minutes a day to actually focus your mind. 10 minutes a day to really look at what you want to believe. 10 minutes a day to work on your goals. 10 minutes a day to read something that's inspiring. 10 minutes a day to really focus your mental process on the direction you say you want to go. Is life easier when you're mentally focused on where you want to go? When you say to the universe, oh, I don't know, right? Does the universe say, well, get back to me when you do? Right? It's like there is power in us being focused, right? And there's power in that. So we invited you to spend 10 minutes a day. And then when it came to your emotions, we invited you to spend another 10 minutes. Right? How many of you know that maybe there's some emotional stuff that you have from the past that you're still holding on to? We gave you 10 minutes a day to clean out your emotional house. Like if you have sadness, if you have resentment, if you have unforgiveness, if you have disappointment, if you have grief, is 10 minutes enough to clean out all that stuff? No, but 10 minutes a day will make a difference. If you're spending 10 minutes a day journaling on all the emotions that you need to let go of, if you spend 10 minutes a day giving God all the emotions that have been backed up just from the day before, you're actually going to be cleaning out. You're going to feel a new level of emotional fitness. You're going to feel emotional mastery, okay? And then today, Tonight we're going to talk about spiritual. Spiritual, we ask for another 20 minutes. And those all add up together to 1 hour. Just 1 hour, 1 out of the 24. And the idea is to spend 1 hour a day in a spiritual activity that fills you up. Now, if you've been playing along at home, if you've actually been meditating for 20 minutes a day for 3 weeks, because if you've just come on Wednesday nights, this would be the third week. Even though it's our last week, it would be our third week. If you've been playing along at home, if you've been meditating for 20 minutes a day for 3 weeks, you're going to feel it. I mean, you can't help but feel it. They say anything that you do 21 days straight becomes a new habit. If you're actually meditating 20 minutes a day, every day, for 21 days, your soul is going to feel the difference. Now, if it's kind of hit and miss and it's, kind of all over the place, you're not going to feel the biggest bang for your buck. But if really you took 20 minutes every day for 21 straight days, your soul is going to feel it. And even if you haven't done it, if you make a personal commitment, one of those challenges, if you now go 21 days into the future, and you'd have to figure what that is, July 18th, I think it would be July 18th. If you go from now to July 18th and make a commitment that every day you're going to pray for 20 minutes, you're going to feel it. And it's like, let me make one more point. If you had to look at all 4 of these, which one would you say was the foundational piece? Would it be your physical, your mental, your emotional, or your spiritual? Which one is the foundational piece? Which one is the most important piece? Spiritual, okay? Okay? Now, so the spiritual, what we believe in unity is that's the eternal part, right? That you're always a spiritual being. Even when you're not a physical being, you're still a spiritual being. That's the part of you that is endless, right? Now, if you had to say the next 3, which would you say was the next most important part of you or the next most foundational piece for you? Would you want to say mental, emotional, or physical? How many want to vote for emotional? How many want to vote for mental? How many want to vote for physical? Okay, I'm going to go with physical. Because if you're in 3-dimensional form, if you don't have this, you're not here. Right? Does that make sense? Like, we kind of forget that the physical comes right after the spiritual. Because the moment you don't have any more physical, you're somewhere else. You're in your next happy place. But you're not in this happy place. Right? So the spiritual is the foundation, and then the physical. Now, do we always treat the physical like it is a foundational piece? No, we want to pretend like it's, I don't know where it goes, but it sure shouldn't go here. But really, it goes spiritual, then physical. Then what would you say? How many? Well, we only have 2 left, so you got a 50-50 shot, right? This is better than Vegas. How many of you want to say emotional? How many want to say mental? I'm going to go with emotional. Right? Because I believe that you were actually feeling before you were thinking. Right? When you came into this planet, you actually felt things before you started thinking about things. Right? So I'm going to vote that emotional is actually more foundational than mental. Now, for most of us, this is where the majority of our energy goes. Is that true? That most of us spend most of our time way up here feeling really disconnected from everything below it. Like if you ask some people, they don't even know what they're feeling, and it's just the next level down. Right? So over and over again, what I want you to see is that we're living like this, kind of an inverted process, but what I really want you to see is that I want you to be living like this. That your spirit is the foundational piece of your life. Then your body.
Notice which two we gave the most energy to, right? The two most important pieces, right? Your spirit and your physicality, because it's important. Now, some people get so committed to their physicality that they're worried that when their physicality is gone, they're gone. No, your spirit still trumps everything. Move on, Richard. Right? So the thing that we tend to focus the least on is this. 20 minutes spiritual every day. Now, here's what I also want you to look at. If you've been doing it, I want you to really begin to notice how as you feed your spirit, as you feed your soul 20 minutes every day, I want you to notice the impact it has on your physicality, your mentality, and your emotions. Because it does impact them. When you're meditating every day, you're connecting to your source. You're filling up your soul every day, right? What I noticed over and over again, I absolutely believe that when I'm doing this, when my spirit, when my soul is full, what I notice is that I don't eat the way I eat when my soul feels empty. Does that make sense? Right? Anybody else have any addiction issues in the room? You don't have to raise your hand, but it's right. So when this isn't getting met, when this is empty, where do we go to try to get our needs met? We come up here. And can you use your body to get a spiritual connection? No. We try, but it doesn't work as well. We think chocolate cake should be just as good as meditation. And it's not, right? So if addiction is an issue in your life, or if it's not working mentally or emotionally, physically in your life, what I'm going to suggest first and foremost is that you work at this level. Instead of trying to just solve it at the level that you're on, like if mentally you're going through some tough times, pray more. Meditate more. Fill the foundational piece of your life and see if that doesn't really begin to work for you. If emotionally you're going through some really hard times and your emotions are up and down and they're all over the place, I'm going to invite you to pray more. If physically you're going through some challenges, whatever they are, I'm going to invite you to pray more so that you're filling up your cup at the level that makes the greatest difference. Have you ever heard the quote from Einstein where he says you can't solve the problem at the level that was created? Where you can't solve a problem. So it looks like if we're having a mental problem, we should just figure it out. How many of you have ever tried that? Right? And your mind races and races and races to try to figure it out. And the real symptom is, oh, this is what it looks like when I don't get enough. Have any of you ever raised kids? One of the things that's interesting for kids is to notice how when they get tired, their emotions go out the window. Right? Have you noticed that? Like when they get tired, you can just have a little demon on your hands because they're exhausted, right? Or they had too much sugar or whatever. You can actually see the connection between their physicality and their emotions because they don't have all the filters that we have, right? It's just more raw. It's more real, right? And what I want you to see is over and over again, the reason that we work on this piece, the reason that we're working on spiritual fitness is that these stack on top of this, right? And I know there's times in all of our lives where we say we don't have the time or the energy to meditate. And mostly we can go a few days without meditating. We can go a week without meditating. Maybe we can go a year without meditating. But I guarantee it's going to start showing up in these three areas of your life. Because if you don't have your foundation, does this making sense to everybody? You got it? right? So this is my big plea, 20 minutes, right? 20 minutes of meditation. Now, you may be the world's worst meditator. Anybody afraid they're the world's worst meditator? Great, right? How many of you worry that your mind wanders and you're not getting anything out of it and it's just not good and nobody cares and like it's just, I can't do it anymore, so I just stop, right? So let me help you with that real quick, okay? So I'm going to invite you to pick, and we're going to go into more detail in just a minute. I'm going to invite you to pick one word, love, joy, peace, and that every time your mind begins to wander, you just come back to love, love. Love. You just come back to love, right? So when your mind, because your mind is the most, like, is your mind the closest to your spirit or the furthest away? It's the furthest away, right? So when your mind begins to wander, you just bring it back. Peace, peace, peace. Okay, does that make sense? Are you all with me? All right? And everybody sees the connection that if you don't have this, this gets a little weird. Now I want to go one more step. Try not to. So this is your soul. And right now, you have 20 minutes every day to make sure that that's full. Okay? 20 minutes. And if you tell yourself the truth, you actually know when you're not full. Like, and you're going to begin to figure out that when you start looking at chocolate cake, your soul's not full, right? Or when you start looking, whatever you do or whatever your thing is, that's a sign that this bad boy is not full. So then you bring back into your soul, and what we know is that whatever looks like it's missing out here is really missing in here. Okay? So if you look at your life, and if you look at your life just out here and say, what would I like more of? Guess where that needs to go? In your soul, right? So whatever you're missing, whatever you want more of, whatever you think is not quite right about your life, it has to show up more in here before it shows up more out here. You with me on that? So what's the most important thing you can fill your soul up with? Close? God, right? The thing that every soul needs the most of is God. Now, God shows up as love, as joy, as peace. Those are all aspects of God. But the thing that every soul needs more of is God. True? Now, when you're doing your meditation, if you just want to focus on God for 20 minutes, fabulous. Because that's the thing that your soul wants the most. Okay? Is God. Now, how do you do this? Okay? I want you to just imagine your soul is sitting next to you. Wherever side, right? Your soul is just sitting in front of you, behind you, somewhere, right? And I want you just to, in your mind's eye or in your soul's heart, I want you to see your soul and ask your soul what it needs most right now. I want you to actually have a conversation with your soul. And Richard, this is just weird. You can't conversation with your soul. Well, there's a guy who wrote a whole book on conversation with God, and he did pretty well with it, right? So we're just going to have a conversation with your soul. What does your soul want more of? Does it want more joy? Does it want more peace? Does it want more God? What does your soul want? And I want you to just, and you maybe won't, some of you might hear it or feel it or know it, but I actually want you to become conscious every day what your soul wants that day. Like if your body wants to go for a walk, do you know when your body needs to go for a walk? Like if your body, whatever it is, right? Your body, if it needs more water, you hopefully know it needs more water. I want you to become so conscious at the level of your soul that every day you know what your soul needs. And I want you to visualize your soul getting it. So see your soul and see your soul being filled with love. Can you do that? See your soul being filled with abundance. See your soul being filled with grace. See your soul being filled with life. And see your soul filled till it's actually overflowing. You've heard the idea of our cup runneth over? That's what we want your soul to be. We want your soul to be a cup running over. And you get to decide every day. See, the real focus of what I want to talk about tonight is the care and feeding of your soul. And there's two requirements to care and feed for your soul. The first one is that you have to be conscious enough to actually know what your soul needs. That you have to be aware enough, not just of your thoughts or your emotions or your body, but actually to the next dimension down. That you actually have to be aware enough to know what your soul needs. And then you have to take the time every day to actually give yourself what you need the most of. Until you can actually see and feel the ramifications in your life, what it means to feed your soul. Because what we don't really have a lot of experience with is actually seeing our soul being fed, feeling our soul being fed, and then seeing our life get better. We have the negative kind of that, where our soul gets more and more empty, and we feel our life getting more and more out of control. But I want you to actually spend 20 minutes a day feeding your soul until your life gets to be overflowing with good. How many of you have ever heard that the inside creates the outside? Right? Who's responsible for filling up the inside? Me, you, like it's us. And so 20 minutes a day, you're going to spend giving yourself the thing that your soul needs the most. Now, does this look like a big project to anybody? It does? Okay, well, I actually think it's very simple. You just spend 20 minutes a day giving your soul the most important thing. Like, you don't have to learn some Eastern meditation chant, right? You don't have to be able to stand on your head and rub your belly button and tap your head. You just spend 20 minutes consciously every day giving your soul the most important thing so that you're full from the inside out. You want greater abundance? Start with abundance within. You want greater love or peace or joy or happiness? Start within. And every day, consciously feed your soul until you're not walking around empty. Have you ever felt or seen somebody who they're just so full, they're just so bright, their aliveness is just bubbling out? Why? Because their soul is full, right? And then we see sometimes people, and you wonder how they make it through the day because their soul has just dwindled to being so empty. Every day, I want 20 minutes. This isn't a game on thing. Every day, I want 20 minutes. I want every day for you to invest in the most important level of you. Especially if life's not working at the level that you want it to be working at. Like if you know that you want to be happier, more prosperous, or more loving, or more physically alive, feed your soul. Did everybody hear me say that? Let's say it together. Feed your soul. One more time. Feed your soul. Like, this isn't magic. This is simple. You have a soul. When it gets empty, life doesn't work. When it's full, life is fantastic. That you have more than enough time every day to feed your soul. Feed your soul. You know what you need. You know what you hunger and thirst for. Feed your soul. And for some of us, it's just learning to be sensitive at the next level down. Just like we now know what we're feeling and what we're thinking, we know what our body needs. I want you to get clarity with what every day, what does my soul need? Oh, I'm feeling panicked, or I'm feeling uneasy, or I'm feeling stressed, or I'm feeling unsure. Okay, what does my soul need? Oh, it needs faith. It needs to know that everything's going to work out. So for 20 minutes, I give my soul faith. Wow. How does that feel to have 20 minutes of faith? That actually feels fabulous. Or maybe I need 20 minutes of light. I need 20 minutes of wisdom, 20 minutes of joy. I need 20 minutes, whatever it is. And every day you start dialing your soul in until you're full to overflowing, until you're creating the most amazing life because your soul is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every day. 20 minutes. 20 minutes can change the game. 20 minutes. Now, did anybody hear me say that you need to go find a cave and meditate for 20 years before you can get your life in order? No. I'm talking 20 minutes of being spiritually conscious and spiritually generous to feed your soul. Okay, does everybody know what the homework is? Did I say it enough times tonight? You have a soul, correct? Your soul needs to be fed, correct? Who can feed your soul? Can you go to a Denny's and say, can you give me a super platter to fill up my soul? No, you're the only one that gets to fill up your soul. Can God do it the moment you and God come together with the idea that your soul is the most important thing to fill you up? Will ice cream ever do it? Chocolate cake, a new car, a new relationship. Will any of those things ever fill up your soul? Who fills up your soul? God and you together can fill your soul to overflowing. Let's pray. So we come together tonight to make a spiritual commitment to ourselves, not to anybody else, but to ourselves. That I commit to being full. I commit to being full from the inside out. I no longer am willing to tolerate emptiness within my own soul or neediness within my own soul. I'm not a victim. I'm a co-creator with God. And every day I make the conscious choice to fill myself up. To fill myself up with joy and hope and laughter and all the things that my soul needs. To fill myself up with God. And to feel the presence of God so deep within me, so alive within me, that my life is transformed from the inside out. I stop looking to outer things to fill me up. I stop doing things just to distract myself. And I start filling myself from the inside. If I need God, I give myself God. If I need love, I give myself love. If I need hope or life or faith or joy, I am generous of spirit. In the name and through the power of the living Christ, we give thanks. And so it is. Amen.